Captain Jake Morrison walked slowly across the bridge of his starship. The Liberty was huge, bigger than any ship humans had ever built before. Its metal walls hummed with power, and bright lights showed the way through long corridors. Jake had been captain for 5 years, but he still felt amazed every time he looked at his ship. Today was different, though. Today, Jake felt worried. He stopped in front of the main screen that showed a map of the galaxy. The map was beautiful, with millions of stars shown as tiny dots of light. Different colored areas showed where different alien races lived. The blue area belonged to the Zephyrians, strange beings made of living crystal. The green area was home to the Thalassans, who lived underwater on ocean worlds. The red area showed Korvaxi space, where the warrior aliens built their mighty fleets. But where human space should be, there was nothing, just empty gray. The computer called it restricted zone, navigation prohibited. No explanation, no details. Just a big empty space where Earth and all the human colonies should be marked. Jake had been staring at this map for weeks, trying to understand what it meant. How could an entire section of the galaxy be unmarked? How could hundreds of human worlds just not exist on the official galactic map? "Captain," a voice said behind him. Jake turned around. Dr. Lisa Carter walked toward him, carrying a thick folder full of papers. Lisa was the ship's expert on alien life. She was smart, maybe the smartest person on the ship. Her brown hair was tied back, and she looked tired. "What did you find, Lisa?" Jake asked. Lisa opened her folder and pulled out several documents. "I have been reading diplomatic records for 3 weeks," she said. "Every alien race in the galaxy has detailed files about their first contact with other species. They have records of trade agreements, peace treaties, and war declarations, but there is nothing about humans. Nothing at all." Jake frowned. "What do you mean, nothing?" "I mean it is like we do not exist," Lisa said. She held up a paper. "This is a trade agreement between the Zephyrians and the Thalassans. It was signed 200 years ago. In the document, they mention that certain areas of space are contained by mutual agreement and should not be approached. But they never say what is in those areas or why they cannot go there." "Contained by mutual agreement," Jake repeated. "That sounds like a prison. Or a quarantine," Lisa said quietly. Before Jake could respond, Commander Alex Bennett walked over to them. Alex was the ship's weapons officer, a big man with short black hair and serious eyes. He looked even more worried than Lisa. "Captain, we have a problem," Alex said. "I have been watching our sensor data from the past 3 months. Every time we get close to what should be the edge of human space, alien ships run away." "Run away?" Jake asked. "Not run away exactly," Alex said. "They retreat, like they are following orders. Yesterday we detected a Korvaxi patrol fleet about 50 light years from here. When they saw us on their sensors, they immediately turned around and left the area. They did not even try to talk to us." Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. The Korvaxi were known as the toughest fighters in the galaxy. They never ran from anyone. If they were avoiding human ships, something very strange was happening. "There is more," Alex continued. "I checked the flight patterns of alien ships near our territory. They all change course to avoid getting too close to human space. It is like there is an invisible wall around our entire region of the galaxy." Lieutenant Commander Ryan Hayes joined their group. Ryan was young, only 28 years old, but he was the best communications officer in the human fleet. He had learned to speak several alien languages and could understand their radio signals. "Captain, I have been listening to alien communications," Ryan said. "When they talk about their normal business, they use open channels that anyone can hear. But whenever they mention humans, they switch to encrypted channels that I cannot break. What?" "Do you think they are hiding?" Jake asked. Ryan shook his head. "I do not know. But yesterday I picked up part of a conversation between 2 Zephyrian ships. Before they switched to encryption, I heard one of them say, 'The sacred boundary must not be crossed.' Then the signal went dead." Jake looked at his officers. These were some of the best people in the human space force, and they all looked confused and worried. The Liberty had been sent to explore beyond human space and make contact with alien civilizations. For 60 years, humans had been sending radio signals into space, trying to talk to other intelligent species. They had never received any answers. Now they knew why. The aliens were already there, already organized into a huge galactic community. But for some reason, they were staying away from human space. Lisa, what do the history books say about first contact protocols? Jake asked. Lisa flipped through her papers. According to galactic law, when a new species develops space travel, they are supposed to be contacted by the Galactic Council within 1 year. A welcome committee comes to their homeworld to explain galactic civilization and offer membership. But no one ever came to Earth, Alex said. Exactly, Lisa replied. According to these records, humans should have been contacted 50 years ago when we launched our first interstellar probe. But there is no record of any contact attempt. Ryan pulled out a small device that looked like a radio. Captain, I have been monitoring emergency frequencies. 3 times in the past month I have heard alien distress calls that were cut off suddenly. Each time the last thing transmitted was coordinates that would put their ships very close to human space. Show me, Jake said. Ryan connected his device to the main computer. The bridge speakers crackled with static. Then a voice speaking in the clicking language of the Korvaxi came through. Emergency, emergency. Engine failure in Sector 779, requesting immediate assistance. Our position is... The voice stopped suddenly, as if someone had turned off the transmitter. That position, Ryan said, pointing to the galactic map, is about 30 light years from the nearest human colony. Jake stared at the map again. The more he learned, the less sense it made. Why would advanced alien civilizations avoid humans? What were they afraid of? And why did they call the border around human space a sacred boundary? Captain, Lisa said softly, I think we need to consider the possibility that we are not the young species we think we are. What do you mean? Think about it, Lisa said. We have been in space for less than a century, but we have already colonized dozens of worlds. Our technology develops faster than it should. Our ships are more advanced than we should be able to build. What if humans are not new to the galaxy? What if we are returning to it? The bridge became very quiet. Jake could hear the soft hum of the ship's engines and the beeping of computers. Outside the windows, stars moved slowly past as the Liberty traveled through space toward the edge of known human territory. There is only one way to find out, Jake said finally. We continue our mission. We find aliens and ask them directly why they avoid us, and we do not stop until we get answers. Alex looked worried. Captain, what if they avoid us for a good reason? What if we are dangerous and do not know it? Jake looked at his crew, then back at the galactic map with its mysterious gray zone, where human space should be. Then we need to know that too. Set course for the Korvaxi border. It is time to get some answers. The Liberty turned toward unknown space, carrying the first humans to leave their isolated region of the galaxy in living memory. None of them knew that their journey would change not just human history, but the fate of every living being in the galaxy. The Liberty had been traveling for 3 months when they finally met their first alien ship. Captain Jake Morrison was eating breakfast in his quarters when the alarm bells started ringing throughout the ship. He dropped his coffee cup and ran to the bridge. Report, Jake called out as he entered the command center. Commander Alex Bennett was standing at the weapons control station, his face pale. Captain, we have a massive ship approaching from the north. It is bigger than anything in our database. Jake looked at the main screen. A huge dark shape was moving toward them through space. The ship was at least 5 times larger than the Liberty, with sharp edges and weapon ports that glowed red. Jake recognized the design from intelligence reports. That is a Korvaxi dreadnought, he said quietly. Battle stations. All hands to combat positions. Red lights flashed throughout the ship as the crew prepared for fight. The Korvaxi were known as the most dangerous warriors in the galaxy. Their ships were built for war, and they had never been defeated in battle. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Hayes was working frantically at his communication station. Captain, they are trying to contact us. The message is coming through on standard diplomatic channels. Put it on speaker, Jake ordered. The bridge speakers crackled. Then a deep voice spoke in perfect English. "Human vessel, this is War Commander Drac of the Korvaxi Imperial Fleet. We request permission to withdraw from the sacred boundary. Please confirm that you authorize our departure." Jake stared at the screen in shock. The alien captain was asking permission to leave. The most feared warriors in the galaxy were asking humans for permission to retreat. Did he just ask us for permission to run away? Alex whispered. Dr. Lisa Carter stepped forward. "Captain, this is not normal behavior. According to all our intelligence, the Korvaxi never retreat. They would rather die fighting than show weakness." Jake activated the communication system. "War Commander Drac, this is Captain Morrison of the Liberty. Why are you requesting permission to withdraw? We have not threatened you." There was a long pause before the alien replied. "Captain Morrison, we did not know the inheritors had awakened. Our presence in this region was not intended to disturb your sacred rest. We ask forgiveness for this intrusion and request permission to return to our territory." "Inheritors?" Jake repeated. "What do you mean by that?" Another pause. "Captain, surely you know of your own heritage. We cannot speak of such matters without permission from the Galactic Council. Please, allow us to depart in peace." Jake looked at his crew. Everyone on the bridge was staring at him, waiting for his decision. The alien ship could destroy them easily, but instead it was begging to leave. "Permission granted, War Commander," Jake said finally. "You may depart." "Thank you, Inheritor Morrison. May your awakening bring peace to the galaxy." The massive alien ship turned around and disappeared into space faster than Jake thought possible. Within minutes it was gone, leaving the Liberty alone in empty space. "What just happened?" Alex asked. Dr. Lisa Carter was already working at her computer station. "He called Jake an inheritor, and he mentioned something about our sacred rest and awakening. Captain, I think we just learned something very important." Over the next few weeks, the Liberty continued toward alien space. Ryan Hayes spent every day listening to alien radio communications, trying to understand what they had learned from their encounter with the Korvaxi ship. "Captain," Ryan said one morning, "I have been analyzing the communication patterns of alien ships in this region. Every time they detect us, they immediately send a coded message back toward the center of the galaxy. Always the same code." "What does it say?" Jake asked. "I cannot break the encryption, but I can track where the messages go. They all go to a location in Zephyrian space that our star charts identify as the Galactic Council headquarters." Lisa looked up from her research. "I have been studying the word inheritors in alien languages. In Korvaxi it means those who receive what belongs to them by right. In Zephyrian it translates to the rightful owners returning home. In Thalasan it means the children of the makers." "Makers?" Jake asked. "That is what I want to know," Lisa replied. "I have found references to makers in dozens of alien historical documents. They are always described as the first intelligent species in the galaxy, the ones who created the foundation of galactic civilization." 2 days later, Ryan made a breakthrough. He had been working on intercepting alien communications when he picked up a conversation between 2 Zephyrian research ships. "Captain, you need to hear this," Ryan said, connecting his equipment to the bridge speakers. The conversation was in the musical language of the Zephyrians, but Ryan had programmed the computer to translate it into English. "Research Vessel 7 to Research Vessel 12. We have detected energy readings from the Forbidden Sector. Confirmed 7. The readings match historical patterns from the time of the makers. Should we investigate? Negative 12. Council orders are clear. The inheritors remain in their sacred rest. We must not disturb the children of the makers. They must awaken naturally, or all will be lost." Understood 7. Setting course away from the Forbidden Sector. May the makers forgive us if we have already seen too much. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. "They called our space the Forbidden Sector," Lisa said slowly. "And they mentioned the children of the makers again." Alex was checking the coordinates from the transmission. "Captain, the location they were discussing is the Sol system. They were talking about Earth." Jake felt his heart racing. Ryan, scan through all your intercepted communications. Look for any other mentions of makers, inheritors, or anything that might relate to humans. Ryan worked for hours, analyzing months of alien radio traffic. As the day went on, he found more and more references. The aliens spoke of the makers with deep respect, almost like they were talking about gods. They mentioned sacred territories that must not be entered. They talked about waiting for the awakening. "Captain," Ryan said finally, "I have found over 300 references to the makers in alien communications from the past 6 months. But here is the strange part. They never talk about the makers as if they are dead. They talk about them as if they are sleeping." Lisa was studying her computer screen with wide eyes. "Jake, I think I know what is happening. Look at this star chart." She displayed a detailed map of the galaxy on the main screen. "I have been analyzing the boundaries of alien territories. Look at how they are arranged." Jake studied the map. The alien territories were spread across the galaxy in complex patterns, but there was something strange about them. "It looks like they are avoiding certain areas." "Exactly," Lisa said. "Now look at this." She highlighted the areas that aliens avoided. The empty spaces form a perfect sphere around human territory, not just around our current colonies, but around areas where we have never been. "That is impossible," Alex said. "How could they know where humans would expand before we did it ourselves?" Lisa manipulated the map, showing different time periods. "The alien boundaries have not changed in over 1,000 years. They established their territories and then stopped expanding, even though they had the technology to colonize much more space." Ryan discovered something even more disturbing when he analyzed the alien ship movements. "Captain, I have been tracking alien fleet positions for the past century using our deep space sensors. Every alien military formation in the galaxy is positioned to defend against threats coming from outside their territory, except for the ships near human space. Those ships are positioned to defend us, not to defend against us." Jake sat down in his captain's chair, trying to process what they had learned. Aliens throughout the galaxy knew about humans and were protecting them. They spoke of humans as inheritors and children of the makers. They avoided human space not because they feared human weapons, but because they thought it was sacred. "Lisa, what do you think this means?" Jake asked. Dr. Carter looked at the galactic map, then at her captain. "I think it means we are not who we think we are. Humans are not a young species learning about the galaxy. We are an old species that everyone else has been waiting for. The question is, waiting for what?" Outside the Liberty, space looked the same as always. Stars shined in the darkness and alien ships moved along invisible trade routes. But now Jake knew that everything they thought they understood about humanity's place in the galaxy was wrong. They were not explorers discovering a new frontier. They were something else entirely, something that made the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy treat them with reverence and fear. The Liberty continued toward alien space, carrying questions that would reshape human understanding of themselves and their destiny among the stars. Captain Jake Morrison could not sleep. For 2 weeks since their encounter with the Korvaxi ship, he had been walking the halls of the Liberty late at night, thinking about what they had learned. The crew was scared and confused. They had come to explore the galaxy, but instead they had discovered that the galaxy already knew about them. Jake was in his quarters reading old mission reports when Lieutenant Commander Ryan Hayes knocked on his door. It was 3 a.m, ship time. "Captain, I'm sorry to wake you, but I found something important," Ryan said. He looked tired, like he had not slept in days. "What is it?" Jake asked, putting down his papers. "I have been going through the communication logs from the past 50 years. All the radio signals that Earth sent into space. All the messages we transmitted hoping to contact alien life. Captain, we did get answers. Lots of them." Jake sat up straight. "What do you mean? We never received any alien responses." Ryan activated a portable computer and showed Jake a series of signal patterns. "These are transmissions that our deep space stations recorded but never decoded. I have been working on them for days. Captain, every major alien civilization in the galaxy responded to our messages within hours of receiving them. Then why did no one on Earth know about this? Because the responses were sent back to us in our own languages. but encoded in ways that our computers could not understand 50 years ago. The aliens knew exactly how to speak to us, but they made sure only our most advanced systems would be able to decode their messages. Jake looked at the screen. What did they say? Ryan pressed a button and a voice spoke from the computer. It was clearly artificial, but it spoke perfect English. Greetings to the children of the Makers. Your awakening has been long awaited. We are honored to witness your return to the stars. Please know that your sacred space has been protected according to the ancient agreements. We await your guidance when you are ready to reclaim your inheritance. Jake felt cold. How many messages like this did we receive? Hundreds, Ryan said. From every major species in the galaxy, all saying basically the same thing. They were waiting for us to wake up and take back something that belonged to us. The next morning, Jake called a meeting of his senior officers. Dr. Lisa Carter had been working all night on the alien messages, and she looked excited and frightened at the same time. Captain, I have analyzed the language patterns in these messages, Lisa said. The aliens did not learn our languages by listening to our radio broadcasts. They already knew them. Some of these responses were sent before our signals could have reached their homeworlds. They knew how to speak to us before we tried to contact them. Commander Alex Bennett was studying tactical reports. Captain, I have been looking at our ship designs and comparing them to what we know about alien technology. Our weapons, our engines, our life support systems, they are all more advanced than they should be for a species that just developed space travel. What do you mean? Jake asked. Look at this, Alex said, displaying a schematic of the Liberty on the main screen. Our plasma engines are more efficient than anything the Korvaxi use, and they have been building starships for thousands of years. Our defensive shields can stop energy weapons that should be impossible for us to defend against. Captain, we are using technology that we should not be able to understand. Lisa added her own findings. I have been studying human DNA samples and comparing them to genetic information about alien species that I found in the intercepted transmissions. Every alien race in the galaxy shares common genetic markers, but humans have something different. We have complete sequences that aliens only have pieces of. What does that mean? Jake asked. It means humans are not related to aliens, Lisa said quietly. Aliens are related to humans, like they were created from human genetic material, but modified for different environments. Ryan had more disturbing news. Captain, I have been monitoring alien military communications. Every time our ship changes course, alien fleets across the galaxy adjust their positions. They are not tracking us to attack us, they are tracking us to protect us. Protect us from what? I do not know, Ryan said, but yesterday I intercepted a priority message from the Galactic Council to all member fleets. It said, the inheritors are moving toward the edge of sacred space. All forces maintain protective formations. Do not allow any hostile contact with the awakening ones. Jake stood up and walked to the window. Outside, stars moved slowly past as the Liberty traveled deeper into unknown space. We need answers, he said. Real answers, not more mysteries. Set course for the coordinates where those Zephyrian research ships were operating. If they were studying something connected to the Makers, maybe we can find it too. 3 days later, the Liberty reached the edge of Thalassan space. Their sensors detected something massive floating in the darkness between star systems. It was not a ship or a planet. It was something else entirely. Captain, Alex reported, we have found a structure approximately 50 kilometers long. It appears to be artificial, but it is not showing up on any of our databases. Jake looked at the object on the main screen. It was dark and covered with strange geometric patterns. Parts of it seemed to be made of metal, but other sections looked like they were grown rather than built. Are there any life signs? Jake asked. Negative, Captain, but there are power readings. Something inside that structure is still active after what appears to be thousands of years. Dr. Carter was scanning the object with every sensor the Liberty had. Captain, the material composition is unlike anything I have ever seen. It contains elements that should not be stable, arranged in patterns that should not be possible. Is it safe to approach? I am detecting no weapons, no hostile energy. Signatures, But Captain, look at this. Lisa displayed a detailed scan on her screen. The structure is designed for human physiology. The doorways are the right height for humans. The corridors are the right width. Even the artificial gravity is set to Earth normal. Jake made his decision. Alex, prepare a boarding party. We are going inside. 2 hours later, Jake led a team of 6 crew members through the docking port and into the alien structure. Their boots echoed in empty corridors as they walked deeper into the mysterious facility. Emergency lights activated as they moved, showing them the way forward. The walls were covered with symbols that looked familiar but could not be read. The architecture was beautiful and strange, with flowing curves and geometric patterns that seemed to shift when they were not looking directly at them. "Captain," called Ensign Pete Davis, one of the security officers, "there is something ahead, a large chamber." They entered a vast room filled with floating displays and control panels that hovered in midair. As soon as Jake stepped into the center of the room, everything activated. Lights blazed, computers hummed to life, and a voice spoke in perfect English. "Welcome, Inheritor. I am Guardian 7, caretaker of this installation. I have been waiting for your return." Jake looked around the room, trying to find the source of the voice. "Who are you? What is this place?" "I am an artificial intelligence, created by the makers to preserve knowledge and maintain the sacred systems. This facility is one of many thousand monitoring stations placed throughout the galaxy to ensure the safety of all life." "The makers," Jake said. "Everyone talks about them, but no one will explain who they were." "The makers were your ancestors, Inheritor Morrison. They were the first civilization to achieve interstellar travel, the first to seed life on barren worlds, the first to create the technologies that now sustain galactic civilization." Lisa stepped forward. "If the makers were our ancestors, what happened to them? Where did they go?" Guardian 7 displayed images on the floating screens around them. Jake saw vast cities among the stars, massive ships larger than moons, and technologies that seemed like magic. But then the images changed, showing destruction and chaos. "The makers faced a choice," Guardian 7 explained. "A cosmic threat was approaching that would destroy all life in the galaxy. They could fight it and probably lose, destroying everything they had built. Or they could sacrifice their civilization to save all the life they had created." "What did they choose?" Jake asked. "They chose to save the galaxy. The makers used their most advanced technology to stop the cosmic threat, but the effort required them to give up their empire. They retreated to a single world, Earth, and chose to live simple lives until their descendants were ready to reclaim their inheritance." Alex was studying the displays showing human technology. "You mean humans are not a young species learning about space travel? We are an ancient species that forgot our own history." "Correct, Commander Bennett. The makers designed Earth to be a sanctuary where their descendants could live and grow without the burden of maintaining a galactic empire. But they also ensured that when humans were ready, they would naturally redevelop the technology needed to return to the stars." Jake felt overwhelmed by what he was learning. "Guardian 7, why did the aliens never contact us directly? Why do they avoid our space?" "Because the makers commanded it, Inheritor Morrison. Until humans chose to leave their sanctuary and explore the galaxy again, they were to be left alone. The alien species were created by the makers to be the caretakers of galactic civilization until the inheritors returned." Captain Jake Morrison spent 3 days inside Guardian 7 Station, learning truths that changed everything he thought he knew about humanity. The artificial intelligence showed him records that went back millions of years, telling the story of the makers and their incredible civilization. "Guardian 7, Jake said as he sat in the station's main chamber. "Show me what the galaxy was like when the makers ruled it." The floating displays around him came alive with images of the ancient past. Jake saw beautiful cities floating in space, connected by bridges of light that stretched between planets. Massive ships moved between star systems, carrying millions of beings to new worlds. Gardens grew on artificial moons, and great libraries stored the knowledge of countless civilizations. "The makers built all of this?" Dr. Lisa Carter asked as she studied the images. "Yes, Dr. Carter. Your ancestors were." the first species to master faster-than-light travel. They explored the galaxy for thousands of years, finding empty worlds and filling them with life. When they discovered that most planets could not support intelligent beings, they created new species designed to thrive in different environments. Commander Alex Bennett was looking at displays showing massive defensive systems. Guardian 7, what were these structures? Planetary defense grids, Commander. The makers built them around every inhabited world to protect against asteroid impacts, solar flares, and other cosmic dangers. These systems still function today, though most alien species do not understand how they work. Jake felt a chill. You mean the systems that protect alien worlds were built by humans? By your ancestors? Yes. The Korvaxi homeworld survives because Maker technology deflects the radiation from its dying sun. The Thalassan ocean worlds maintain their water levels because Maker pumps regulate their tidal systems. The Zephyrian crystal cities grow in perfect harmony because Maker computers control their geological processes. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Hayes was recording everything. Guardian 7, do the aliens know that human technology protects their worlds? Some of their leaders suspect, but most do not understand the true nature of their dependence on Maker systems. They believe their worlds are naturally stable. They do not realize that without human oversight, their civilizations would collapse within decades. Guardian 7 displayed a new set of images showing the galaxy as it looked in the present day. Jake could see the territories of different alien species, their trade routes, and their military positions. But now he noticed something else. Thin lines of energy connected every inhabited world, forming a vast network that spanned the entire galaxy. What are those energy lines? Lisa asked. The Maker Grid, Guardian 7 explained. It is a galaxy-wide system that regulates everything from interplanetary communication to stellar engineering. Every star system in the galaxy is connected to this network. It monitors cosmic radiation, prevents supernovas, and maintains the stability of space-time itself. Alex studied the grid patterns. How is something like that even possible? Your ancestors achieved a level of technology that current galactic civilization cannot comprehend. Commander Bennett. They learned to manipulate matter and energy at the quantum level. They could move stars, create pocket dimensions, and bend the laws of physics to their will. Jake felt overwhelmed by the scope of what he was learning. Guardian 7. If the Makers were so powerful, what could possibly threaten them? The chamber grew darker as Guardian 7 displayed images of deep space. Jake saw something moving between the galaxies, a darkness that seemed to consume everything in its path. The Devourers, Guardian 7 said quietly. Entities from outside our galaxy that feed on organized matter and energy. They travel from galaxy to galaxy, destroying everything in their path and leaving only empty space behind. Where are they now? Jake asked. They were stopped at the edge of our galaxy by the Maker's final sacrifice. Your ancestors built a barrier of pure energy that surrounds our entire galaxy, preventing the Devourers from entering. But maintaining this barrier required the complete dedication of the Maker civilization. Lisa was studying the energy readings from the barrier. Guardian 7, is this barrier still active? Yes, but it is weakening. The Makers designed it to last until their descendants were ready to take over its maintenance. The systems that power the barrier are beginning to fail after millions of years of continuous operation. Ryan looked up from his computer. What happens if the barrier fails? The Devourers will enter the galaxy and destroy every living world. All the life that the Makers created and protected will be consumed. The galaxy will become empty darkness. Jake stood up and walked to the windows overlooking space. Out there, billions of beings lived their lives without knowing that their existence depended on technology built by his ancestors. The weight of responsibility felt crushing. Guardian 7, why was Earth chosen as the sanctuary world? Why did the Makers retreat there? Earth was selected because it was far from the galactic center, in a region with natural barriers that would discourage exploration by other species. The Makers also modified Earth's solar system to hide advanced technology in places where their descendants would eventually find it. What kind of technology? Alex asked. Guardian 7 displayed a diagram of the solar system. There are manufacturing facilities hidden in the asteroid belt, automated shipyards in the moons of Jupiter, and vast computer systems buried beneath the surfaces of Mars and Venus. When humans developed the technology to explore their own solar system, they were meant to discover these facilities and begin remembering their heritage. Lisa was studying the solar system map. Guardian 7, humans have been to Mars and Venus. We have explored the asteroid belt. Why did we not find any of this? Because the facilities are programmed to remain hidden until humans are ready to accept their inheritance. They will only reveal themselves when human technology reaches a certain level and when human society is prepared for the truth. Jake realized something important. The liberty. Our technology is more advanced than it should be, because we are starting to rediscover maker knowledge. Correct, Captain Morrison. As humans spread through space and approach their ancestral territories, dormant systems throughout the galaxy are beginning to activate. Your ship's advanced capabilities are the result of these systems slowly coming online. Ryan checked his equipment readings. Guardian 7, I have been monitoring alien communications since we arrived here. Are they aware that human technology is becoming more advanced? Yes, Lieutenant Commander Hayes. The alien leadership councils have been tracking human technological development for decades. They know that the time of awakening is approaching. Some are excited about the return of the inheritors. Others are afraid. Afraid of what? Jake asked. Afraid that humans will judge them unworthy of the life the makers gave them. Afraid that you will take away the worlds and technologies that have sustained them for millions of years. Some alien species have become dependent on maker systems and believe they cannot survive without them. Alex was studying tactical displays. Guardian 7, could humans take control of alien worlds if we wanted to? Inheritor Morrison has access to override codes for every maker system in the galaxy. With a single command, he could shut down the life support systems of any alien world. He could move their stars, redirect their orbital paths, or alter the fundamental forces that hold their civilizations together. Jake felt sick. I do not want that kind of power over other beings. That reluctance is why the makers chose to sacrifice their civilization rather than rule over others, Guardian 7 said. They believed that true strength comes from protecting life, not controlling it. Lisa had been quiet for a long time, studying the vast amount of information Guardian 7 had shown them. Guardian 7, what exactly is our inheritance? What are humans supposed to do with all of this? Your inheritance is the responsibility to maintain galactic civilization until it can maintain itself. The makers never intended to rule forever. They wanted to create a galaxy where all species could grow, learn, and eventually become independent of outside help. But the systems are failing, Ryan said. You said the barrier protecting the galaxy is weakening. Yes, the time for human isolation is ending. The galaxy needs the inheritors to return and begin the long process of teaching other species to maintain their own civilizations. If humans do not accept their inheritance soon, everything the makers built will be lost. Jake looked at his crew. They were all staring at him, understanding that the decision they made would affect every living being in the galaxy. They had come to explore new worlds and instead discovered that the fate of galactic civilization rested in their hands. Guardian 7, Jake said slowly. What happens if we choose not to accept this inheritance? What if humans want to stay on Earth and live simple lives? Then the galaxy will die, Captain Morrison. The barrier will fail, the devourers will enter, and all life will be consumed. Earth will not be spared. The sanctuary the makers created will become just another dead world floating in empty space. Jake understood now why the Korvaxi had asked permission to retreat, why the aliens avoided human space, and why they spoke of humans with such reverence. Humanity was not just another species exploring the galaxy. Captain Jake Morrison stood in Guardian 7's chamber, staring at the displays that showed the failing systems throughout the galaxy. For 3 days, he had been learning about humanity's true heritage, and now he faced the most important decision in human history. Guardian 7, Jake said quietly. How much time do we have before the galaxy's defenses fail completely? The barrier protecting the galaxy from the devourers will collapse within 50 Earth years, the artificial intelligence replied. The planetary defense systems will begin failing within 20 years. The stellar stabilization network will shut down within 30 years. Dr. Lisa Carter was studying the technical readouts. What would happen if humans accepted their inheritance today? Could we stop the systems from failing? Yes, Dr. Carter. Human genetic codes can reactivate all dormant maker systems. With proper training, Inheritor Morrison could restore the galaxy's defenses to full strength within 5 years. Commander Alex Bennett looked worried. But Guardian 7, humans do not know how to operate these systems. We barely understand our own technology, let alone galaxy-spanning networks. The knowledge exists in maker archives throughout the galaxy. Once humans accept their inheritance, educational systems will activate to teach them everything they need to know. Your species learns quickly. The makers designed you to adapt and grow. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Hayes had been monitoring communications from the Liberty. Captain, I have been receiving messages from alien fleets throughout the galaxy. Word is spreading that humans have made contact with a Guardian station. What are they saying? Jake asked. Most are excited. The Galactic Council has called an emergency session to discuss the awakening of the inheritors. But some species are frightened. They think humans will punish them for using maker technology without permission. Jake walked to the chamber windows and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, billions of beings were waiting to learn what humanity would decide. The responsibility felt overwhelming. Guardian 7, what kind of life would humans have if we accepted this inheritance? Would we still be human? That depends on how you choose to fulfill your role, Captain Morrison. The makers faced the same question millions of years ago. They could have become gods ruling over lesser beings, or they could have become teachers helping other species grow. They chose to be teachers, and that choice led them to sacrifice everything to save the galaxy. Lisa had been quiet for a long time, thinking about everything they had learned. Jake, we have to consider what this means for Earth, for all the humans who do not know about any of this. What do you mean? Jake asked. If we accept this inheritance, Earth becomes the center of galactic civilization again. Millions of aliens will want to visit the homeworld of the makers. Human society will change completely. We will never be able to go back to the simple life we had before. Alex nodded. And if we refuse, everyone dies. Not just aliens, but humans, too. The Devourers will not spare Earth when they enter the galaxy. Ryan was still monitoring alien communications. Captain, I am receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council. They are requesting permission to approach this station. Jake looked at Guardian 7. Is it safe for them to come here? Yes, Captain Morrison. The Council leaders have been waiting for this moment for thousands of years. They want to meet the first inheritor to awaken and learn what humanity has decided. Let them come, Jake said. 6 hours later, a fleet of alien ships approached Guardian 7's station. Jake watched from the chamber windows as vessels from every major species in the galaxy took positions around the ancient facility. The ships were beautiful and strange, each one reflecting the unique culture of its builders. Guardian 7 announced the arrival of the delegation. Captain Morrison, the Galactic Council representatives are requesting permission to board the station. Jake took a deep breath. Permission granted. The first alien to enter the chamber was tall and made of living crystal that reflected light in rainbow patterns. Jake recognized the being as a Zephyrian, one of the galaxy's oldest civilizations. Greetings, Inheritor Morrison, the crystal being said in a voice like singing wind chimes. I am High Counselor Veltar of the Zephyrian Republic. We have waited long for this day. Behind Veltar came representatives from dozens of other species. The massive armored form of a Korvaxi general, the flowing water-like shape of a Thalassian diplomat, beings made of energy, metal, and substances Jake could not identify. We know you have many questions, Veltar continued, but first, we must ask, will humanity accept their inheritance and save the galaxy? Jake looked at his crew, then at the assembled aliens. Before I answer that, I have questions of my own. Why did you never tell us the truth? Why did you let humans believe we were alone in the universe? The Korvaxi general stepped forward. Because the Makers commanded it, Inheritor. They said their descendants must choose freely without pressure from others. We were forbidden to contact you until you left your sanctuary and sought us out. But we tried to contact you for decades, Lisa said. We sent radio signals, launched probes, searched for signs of intelligent life. And we answered, replied the Thalassian diplomat, its voice bubbling like water over stones. But we answered in ways that required you to develop advanced technology to understand our messages. The Makers said their children would know when they were ready. Veltar's crystal form shimmered. Inheritor Morrison, we must be honest with you. Some among our peoples fear your return. They have lived for so long, depending on Maker technology that they believe they cannot survive without it. What do you fear we will do? Jake asked. Some believe you will judge us unworthy and take away the worlds the Makers gave us, the Korvaxi general said. Others fear you will rule over us as gods, as some among our ancestors did before the Makers created our species. Jake felt anger rising in his chest. The Makers created your species? Yes, Veltar said softly. We were not born naturally on our worlds. The Makers found empty planets and created us to live there. They gave us intelligence, culture, and the ability to grow and learn. We are their children, just as you are. Alex stepped forward. So humans are not the only descendants of the Makers? No, Commander Bennett, the Thalassian diplomat replied. All intelligent life in the galaxy comes from Maker genetic templates. But humans are the only species that carries the complete Maker heritage. We are like copies made from fragments. You are the original. Jake understood now why the aliens treated humans with such reverence. They were not just advanced technology users. They were children looking up to their older siblings. Inheritor Morrison, Veltar said urgently. The Council's scientists confirm what Guardian 7 has told you. The galaxy's defenses are failing. We have perhaps 50 years before the Devourers break through the barrier. Without human guidance, we cannot maintain the systems that protect our worlds. Jake looked at each member of his crew. Lisa was studying her scanner readings. Alex was reviewing tactical data. Ryan was monitoring communications from the alien fleet. What do you think? Jake asked them. Lisa spoke first. Jake, if we refuse this inheritance, everyone dies. But if we accept it, humanity becomes something completely different. We become responsible for billions of lives across thousands of worlds. The Makers faced the same choice, Alex said. They could have lived safely while the galaxy burned, or they could have sacrificed their simple lives to save everyone else. They chose to save everyone. Ryan looked up from his equipment. Captain, I have been listening to communications from the alien fleet. They are not here to force us to accept our inheritance. They are here to say goodbye if we choose to refuse it. They would rather spend their last years knowing they met the inheritors than die wondering what might have been. Jake walked back to the window and looked out at the alien ships. Each vessel represented millions of beings who had lived their entire lives waiting for humanity to return. They had protected human space for thousands of years, kept the galaxy stable, and never asked for anything in return. Guardian 7, Jake said. If humans accept this inheritance, do we have to rule over the other species? No, Captain Morrison. The Maker's ultimate goal was to create a galaxy where all species could govern themselves. Your role would be to teach others how to maintain their own systems and eventually become independent of Maker technology. How long would that take? Perhaps 1,000 years, maybe longer. It depends on how quickly each species learns. Jake made his decision. Guardian 7, I accept humanity's inheritance on behalf of my species, but we will not rule over others. We will be teachers, helpers, and protectors until every species in the galaxy can stand on their own. The chamber filled with sounds of joy from the alien delegation. Veltar's crystal form blazed with rainbow light. The Korvaxi general saluted with deep respect. The Thalassian diplomat sang a song of celebration in its liquid voice. Inheritor Morrison, Veltar said, you have made the same choice your ancestors made. You have chosen to serve rather than to rule. Guardian 7's voice filled the chamber. Activation sequence initiated, sending awakening signal to all maker systems throughout the galaxy. Educational protocols beginning. Welcome home, inheritors.